Today we're going to talk about should alcohol be illegal with special guests Jamila and Nicole and your host Mia Calderon. Before we get into discussion, I want to speak a little bit about history, which actually the U.S. banned alcohol from 1920 to 1933. This was called the Prohibition Era, which was enforced by the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. During this time, the 18th Amendment to the Constitution banned the production, distribution, and sales of alcoholic beverages. This period was characterized by the rise of illegal speakeasies, bootlegs, and other organized crime related to alcohol trade. Enforcement of this time was challenging, leading to everyone discarding the law. The ban was eventually repealed by the 21st Amendment in 1933. Which was the ending of the Prohibition Era. Okay, should alcohol be illegal? Yes or no, guys?
No.
No? Nicole?
Probably not, but depends on the situation.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about this question? When I ask, should alcohol be illegal, how does that make you feel?
Controlled.
Controlled, that's a good one. Nicole?
I guess somewhat confused just because it depends on what kind of alcohol we're talking about.
Okay. So, do you guys personally consume alcohol?
No.
No?
Not barely.
Barely?
Not regularly.
Not regularly? Okay, so what is your view on alcohol as a whole? So, when I mention alcohol in either way, whether you consume or don't consume, what is your view on it? When you first think about it, what is that view?
Like, liquor is usually my main thought when it said alcohol.
Okay, and Jamila?
Same thing.
Same thing?
Yeah.
So do you think more of a negative or do you think more of a positive?
Negative.
Negative?
Yeah. Even though I said it's a no.
Yeah.
For should it be illegal, it'll just make things worse, I feel like.
Okay.
Well, I feel like a lot of people see it as a positive just because it's usually seen as a way to have fun if we're talking about liquor, but just most of the outcomes are negative.
Got it. Now, after hearing Jamila and Nicole's view on alcohol, I want to get into the positive and negative. First, the negative of alcohol. I want to point out all the negatives that alcohol has to the United States and that consume alcohol daily. We all know that there are negative impacts to alcohol and how the United States consumes alcohol daily. So getting into the negatives can really impact this discussion. Alcohol is estimated to be the 5th leading risk factor for global disability adjusted life years. Restricting or banning alcohol advertising may reduce the exposure to the risk by alcohol and individual and general population level. Now, intake to 2 drinks or less in a day for men and 1 drink or less in a day for women on days when alcohol is consumed, meaning 2 drinks or less a male will consume alcohol. 1 drink or less a day is when a woman will consume alcohol. Some negatives is that people that are younger than 21 will consume alcohol. Pregnant or maybe pregnant women will consume alcohol. Driving or planning to drive or having other activities that can be caused to alter your skill, coordination, and alertness, meaning that people can get thrown off by consuming alcohol and will be unsafe. Taking certain prescription or over-the-counter prescriptions, this may interact with the alcohol, which is not healthy. Suffering from certain medical certain medical factors, this could also be a negative. Recovering from alcoholism or are unable to control the amount they drink, people become addicted and it becomes a problem. There are many injuries such as motorcycle crashes, falls, drowning, burns, etc. Violence, including homicide, suicide, sexual assault, and violence to an intimate partner. There's also alcohol poisoning and medical emergencies that may result in high blood alcohol levels. There's also risky sexual behaviors that can lead to unprotected sex or sex with multiple partners. These behaviors may result into unwanted pregnancy or sexually transmitted diseases, including HIV, miscarriage or stillbirth, or fetal alcohol syndrome disorder among pregnant women. There's also cancer, weakness to immune system, performance level, mental health problems, anxiety, depression, social problems, alcohol disorder, alcohol dependence, and heart disease, stroke, liver disease, and other medical problems as well. Even social problems, which can include family problems, job-related problems, or unemployment. All of these are factors of alcohol that can be negative to a person. But that doesn't mean that there are not any positives to alcohol. Now that we've spoken about how it can be a negative standpoint, now let's talk about, are there any positives on consuming alcohol? I don't want it to just be a negative discussion on how alcohol can impact a person's life, but there are some positives on a positive standpoint and how there are potential benefits. Actually, some studies have found that moderate drinkers have lower mortality rates compared to heavy drinkers. Research has also found the risk of diabetes can be lowered by who consume alcohol moderately. Several studies have displayed lower risk of dementia or decreased cognitive decline over time with mild to moderate alcohol intake. Moderate alcohol intake can reduce the risk of developing gallstones. Evidence suggests that mild to moderate alcohol consume decreases the risk of heart disease. There are also things such as medical things, as in hand sanitizer, for example. It can be used and helps us in the end because it has alcohol in it. Other cleaning products as well, things that we use daily that can be beneficial to us that have alcohol inside. Okay, so after hearing all the negatives and the positives about how alcohol is used throughout the United States, would you change your answer in the beginning? So would it be still, should it be illegal or should it be the way it is?
Regular. I think I'm still saying no, only because I feel like DUI rates and alcoholism is going to be way worse than it is already.
Okay. So you think people are still going to rebel after, even like it did when they first drank alcohol?
Yep.
Okay. So Nicole, do you think the same way as you did in the beginning? Should alcohol be illegal? After hearing the history of it, after knowing the negatives and positives, should it be illegal?
Well, I don't think it should be illegal, but it should probably be limited. Just
under more control.
Yeah, under more control. So I guess more strict rules on how people get it and stuff like that, just so that we don't have like as many like bad outcomes because people under the influence or the abuse of using any type of other alcohol.
Okay, yeah. So what ideas like do you think are restrictions? So I think like when I personally think of restrictions with alcohol, I think of limits. So do you have any ideas to when it comes to restrictions like Nicole mentioned? Jamila?
That's a tough one. I feel like they should start doing like checkpoints and stuff. For like people who are, you know, that brave to drive while under the influence, or and I feel like if you go to the bars, like they literally need to cut you off. Like if you're like wasted, you're done. You're done, basically. Yeah. And it needs to be stricter.
Okay, Nicole.
I feel like probably depending if people are like buying liquor and stuff like that, the requirements should be a little bit stricter. Just because right now you basically just need an ID saying that you can get alcohol and stuff like that. And a lot of people fake their IDs, and that's how they get a lot of liquor. So I feel like the way that they're able to get like liquor should be a little bit more harder. Or as Jamila was saying, whenever you go to a bar, you should be like limited on how much you're drinking, just so that you don't act out or you don't like get home unsafely. Yeah.
Well, that is one of the negatives, is that, you know, it can influence a lot of moods, and, you know, people use it as an escape. There's many negatives on family situations and, you know,
like coping.
Coping mechanisms.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And then I've learned recently, because it happened to me, certain like driver's license can only like enter the bars, or technically casinos and bars are supposed to make sure that you have the new driver's license. The one that's
the horizontal one.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, but some places don't do that.
Like the vertical.
Because isn't the vertical one that's like underage? Yeah, and it still says like on the, because mine still says like the red, like will turn 21, and you know, even though I'm 21,
they don't care.
Yeah,
Nevada don't care.
Yeah,
but there are some places that literally don't care.
Yeah,
because I mean, you're over the age of 21.
Yeah,
I think it's crazy because also like recently, I also had an experience that I went to a liquor store, and they actually usually don't even check IDs anymore. So at this point, I feel like if you think that you look older than you really are, you could probably just go into any liquor store and just get alcohol because they're not going to ID you.
Yeah. And another negative too is, you know, younger people under 21, you know, they use it when they go out partying, and they, you know, the alcohol is the number one thing you think of when you go to parties, right? Like, to me, that's the number one thing I think of. So, and it's crazy because even having siblings and, you know, having like people that are younger than me in my life, they look older in some way or the other. So if they just walk into a liquor store and they're like, oh yeah, let me get this bottle of, I don't know, vodka, you know, people don't care. They don't check.
I also don't know if you guys seen that TikTok where these two girls that were underage were allowed inside the bar, but they had to keep the stamp on their hand.
Oh.
They went to the bathroom and washed it off.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, because even just recently when we went to Sick New World, they had the wristbands, but anyone can, you know, like, can just take it off and you know, give it to someone else, you know. It's just, but it's like, see it as a good idea, but it's not at the end of the day, you know.
I feel like people always find a way around.
Exactly.
And speaking on like concerts and stuff like that with wristbands, they should, like, security needs to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Especially people who are intoxicated.
Yeah. And
that's me.
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
For my job, that's what we have to look out for.
Yeah.
We have to make sure minors are not drinking or anything like that. So
Yeah.
they're not allowed to bring pictured IDs or like a phone of
Yeah,
your,
so
like a photo of your,
because at this point, anybody could just like Photoshop their own ID to make it look real and say, "Oh, I forgot it at home."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, another question for you guys. If alcohol was illegal, would there be a restriction on what type of alcohol? Because, we use it in medical procedures, we use it in sometimes food and other things. Do you think that would be different if it was illegal?
Well, I feel like if it's with food, because a lot of like restaurants will cook with wine and stuff like that, I feel like there should be like a chain of command that it would probably go through if it was illegal, just so that they make sure that it's used for only that reason, like for cooking, or like if it's any other type of alcohol, they would probably just make like hard liquor illegal, just because that's usually like what gets people a little bit more like out of control.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, we did talk about a little bit how it affects everyone, in different communities. What do you think, personally, if you thought just Nevada? Just, something that's a big, casinos and, alcohol. What do you think, what are the top things that you come to mind where it affects this community?
I mean, we do live in Vegas.
A lot of homelessness.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something we didn't mention.
Money just.
Yeah, and that's usually
true.
just because of like off topic, that drug abuse, but also alcohol abuse, because people just kind of blow their money on their addiction, like alcohol. So obviously here in Vegas, it's a problem, but not even just homeless people, because you even see people on the street.
What I was saying was like they become homeless because they get consumed by their addiction, and they don't know how to take care of themselves. They don't know how to take care of their car. Like, they don't know how to control themselves.
Yeah. And, there's the symptoms of alcoholism, too. There's cravings, there's loss of control, dependence, the tolerance, and that can all lead into the beginning of, something that can lead into homelessness, that can just be, I guess what you could say, or what you said earlier, Jamila, like controlled. It's a whole takeover. So in conclusion, should alcohol be illegal, and why? If you believe so.
Even though they have a lot of negatives to it, I still don't think making it illegal would stop them from getting it. Just like other substances, and like, again, homelessness. Like, people who are homeless, easy for them to get it. That's all I got to say, honestly.
I mean, I feel like it should be like highly restricted, but either way, I feel like at the end of the day, if somebody wants to like get their hands on any type of alcohol or whatever, they're gonna find a way. So it doesn't matter. I feel like it doesn't matter how much we restrict or control like people's intake on how they can get their alcohol and this and that. They're gonna be able to get it one way or another.
See, like, even if there were restrictions, there's some kind of way, just like how,
like illegally selling it.
Exactly. Like how it was in the
substances.
How it was in the 1920s, that like the Roaring 20s. It couldn't be stopped, and that's the sad part. It's just either way. Even when we do see it as a negative, there may be some kind of restrictions which may lower it. We don't know, but still, it's kind of just, even though I may believe, that it should be restricted, and so it's all of us, it shouldn't be illegal, because, there's many, points to it, different ways and stuff it can be used and things like that, but, the restrictions can definitely help a little bit, and, therapies and things like that too.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for our podcast, and thank you for listening. So questions for you. Do you believe personally, after hearing everything that we discussed, do you personally believe that alcohol should be illegal? If so, what are your ideas? Thank you for joining again, and you have a great day. And again, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.